Ronkonkoma Hub and Stony Brook. But the first distinction I want to make is that if this were a race, Ronkonkoma is here, and Stony Brook is maybe, has its foot up off the starting line. So in terms of where they are in their development, it's very, very far along. So let's talk about Ronkonkoma. Ronkonkoma does encompass 50 acres right around the Ronkonkoma train station. For many, many years, people have said, I get off the train, it's the busiest train station on Long Island, 17,000 people a day, and it looks like hell. I mean, there's just really no other way to say it. It looks terrible. If, you know, many of my friends who've left Long Island, when they come to visit me, that's where I pick them up, and they get off the train and they say, how fast can we get out of here? And that's not what you want. So the focus of the Ronkonkoma Hub is that that type of development certainly wouldn't be appropriate everywhere, but when you use terms like smart development, and I know you mentioned it before, this is what's referred to as transit-oriented development, in the sense that that can be a place where, you know, if you work in Manhattan, how great would it be to live, walk to the train station, go back and forth, you don't have to worry about your car in the morning. So redeveloping that into a commercial area with also residences is something that I think is enormously important. It will dramatically increase the tax base, but what's important to talk about that is that project is fully supported by the Lake Ronkonkoma Civic and the Ronkonkoma Chamber. In fact, when the town went out to find a developer to do it, the Civic and the Chamber, the president of the Civic and the president of the Chamber, sat on the committee to choose. Now they sat on the land use committee to design what they wanted, then they sat on the committee to choose who would do it, and they continue to be involved on a weekly basis. So that's Ronkonkoma. Now, I think that type of development is important because it's a place where people can go. Now, Stony Brook is a vastly different animal at a vastly different point in time. I think with Stony Brook, we have an idea that has no plan or anything else. So we are at that, it probably would be exaggerated to call it at its infancy stage. But the concept is, and I think government shouldn't be afraid to say, what about this idea? You know, and the concept is that many universities have a place, an identity, right off the campus, a main street. You know, I went to the University of Delaware for grad school, and there's a main street right off of it. Some people use Nassau Street in Princeton as an example as well. So could we create something like that? So the concept, you know, I know Supervisor Lesko at the time spoke with Assemblyman Engelbright, Councilman Fiore-Rosenfeld, I apologize, and many of the civic organizations. So they're starting a very early process of, is this something that would work? And if they can get from step half to step one, then the next 20 steps, or at least, involve the community, you know, lots of, they call charrettes, people sitting down, looking at the plan, saying, does this work? And if the answer is no, that the community doesn't want it, well, that's okay. I don't think we should be afraid to say, will this idea work? And if people say no, then we should vote it down. But I think we should be bold and come up with new ideas and give the people the opportunity to examine them in full detail, get all the answers to the questions, and then tell us what they think.
And one more thing, how many units of condos will be at the hub?
At the hub, the land use plan calls for 850. That was the land use plan approved by the community, and approved by the chamber, and approved by the town board.